What's up, YouTube? It's your girl Rachel. Welcome back to my channel. I hope that you are having an amazing day today. And if you're not having an amazing day today, I hope that shit turns around for you. Welcome back to another episode of Real Talk with Rach. I am Rach and I talk only about real shit. Only. But first order of business, nails. Alright, so today we are going to have a conversation about patience. Patience is honestly one of the most important concepts, I think, honestly, out of there's a lot of concepts to grasp in life, but patience is one of those really, really serious ones that definitely impacts you greatly, whether you realize it or not. And I feel like for me, I've been wanting to have this conversation about patience for a really long time, because it's been something that I have been really honestly just focusing on and diving into what patience even is, what patience means to me, how I incorporate patience in my life. And really the reason why I feel like it's something that I've been focusing on so much is because I'm naturally a very impatient person. I naturally just want instant gratification, instant this, instant that, instant validation. And when there's times in my life where I have to wait for that, I don't just get that, it's hard for me to handle. And I'm learning that because it's so difficult for me to manage being patient, that in itself is something that needs to be looked at. Why is it so difficult for me to do something that I don't even have a choice in doing, right? Because if I'm being patient for something, it's because it's not my choice that I have to wait for whatever XYZ is. As I've been trying to understand how to be more patient and apply patience into my life, this means that I have to understand what patience really is, or what it really means to be patient. And I feel like I have been definitely taking a lot of time to sit with myself and try to figure out what patience is for me, as well as engaging outwards and socializing and seeking for information that can help also guide me to what patience really is, and how to fully apply it to me, my life, and my existence. And I feel like there's kind of two things that I really want to touch on with regards to patience today. And one of them is just an aspect of life that I think is inherent to patience to some extent. And then something else, which is a really big realization that I had, that honestly made me feel something really clicked. It was a light bulb thing. And honestly, it's so simple, but so not all at the same time. I mean, you know how those things are. And yeah, that was just really whoa, okay. And made me realize okay, now I fully am really understanding something that I was seeking for, that I was trying to understand with regards to diving into patience. And really, because I had that realization, I was okay, now I feel I have value to share, that I want to share, that I'm excited to share, and have this conversation. Because definitely I feel just so deeply this urge to share myself. And obviously I am, and I have been doing that with these videos, posting on YouTube and just posting in general on social media. And so I've been doing that, but I also just have even more urges that I see are coming and happening and will happen to share more and more and more. Because I mean, it's something that I enjoy, but it's something that I just feel is really important and really aligns with me, is to share me, myself, my experiences, and my energy. And so oftentimes now, just throughout life, when I'm thinking about things that I'm going through, things that I'm experiencing, things that I'm learning, I am thinking in the back of my mind that this is a journey that is something that I'm gonna want to share, like, with others, with the world. And so this journey with patience has been something that I've also had in the back of my mind of like, okay, yeah, I'm on this journey right now, and when the time is right, like, I want to share. And I mentioned before in like my past videos, I think that I was, working on my patience and really trying to understand that and wanting to make a video about that. And so now here it is. But yeah, I just had that moment where I just like knew like, okay, like this is something that now I know is like time to share. Anywho, so let's dive into it. Really the first aspect that I was talking about, in some ways, like, it is obvious, but I don't know what that can also mean. Like, in some aspects it's obvious, in some it's not, and like in some ways it's easy, in some it's not. But something that I've just been really focusing on in general, which I've mentioned before, but like realizing is like inherently tied to patience, is gratitude. And the reason why I'm just like, really making that connection is because if you have to be patient for something, and like, or if you have to wait for something and you want to be patient, have patient energy while doing it, have patience. Basically, like, patience is meaning that you are like calm, relaxed, and basically accepting of your current reality, even though it's not what this thing is that you're waiting for. Like, this thing that you're waiting for hasn't happened yet. And if you're practicing true patience, that means that you are just in such a positive like headspace of like being content, like a contentedness, if that's a word. I think it is. Being content where you are. And even though you know that this thing is going to happen, and there is in terms a sort of like waiting, as in you are aware that this thing is going to happen and it's not here yet, it's not like you are waiting to do anything. It's not like you're waiting to live your life. You are fully content in the moment if you're really truly practicing patience. And you have just absolute gratitude for your current reality, for your current moment. And that's what patience really is. Like, being grateful, being thankful for what's going on right now, even though it's like the thing you're waiting for is not here. It's not. You're in a different like space now, So yeah, that's just something that I've been really connecting the dots with, of like, if I'm feeling so impatient right now, then I'm really not feeling grateful for my current reality, or feeling grateful for what's going on right now, what's my current environment. And I feel like also something that is like a really hard, like fine line, fine boundary, I don't even know, to like try to understand, is like this concept of like, okay, with regards to now tying patience into, let's say, something that's grander in your life, that's a goal that you're working towards, a dream, a goal, you want to achieve something, and you know that you need to take action, you need to pursue your goals to achieve this thing that in essence is something that is, different from your current reality, i.e. something you're waiting for, i.e. something you have to be patient for. And the thing is that to know even that you have somewhere else to go sometimes, or that you have like something else in the future that's going to align with you more, doing that usually comes with a realization or understanding that whatever is going on right now doesn't align with you, or isn't serving you, or just isn't, like for you. And it's interesting because it's like, to be able to know that and be aware that your current reality doesn't align with you, but yet you're still supposed to be grateful, and that's how you achieve patience while you're waiting, or while your current reality doesn't match like the future thing that is coming and is there in the future, that's the thing that like I feel like gets me, because it's hard to understand how can I acknowledge that my current reality doesn't align with me while still being so grateful for my current reality, because that's how I can find deep patience. And I want to be patient because I know that future thing isn't here yet, and it's not going to be here like that. So it is interesting because it is a catch-22, but I think now, kind of leading into my second thing here with the realization, is there's kind of two parts with this. One thing, it's like answering that question of how. Like, how can I acknowledge that my current reality doesn't align, but still be grateful for my current reality so that I can thus be patient for what I know is coming? Ties into, I think, answering the question of, am I doing everything that I can to get there? Am I like doing everything with regards to what I can control? And thinking about what you can't control, what you can't control is that timing, right? Timing is not up to us human beings, right? We do not control timing, okay? The universe controls timing. They choose the timing of everything. And, you know, coming into that understanding of, you know, fully, at least for yourself, being like, well, I am controlling everything that I can control. Like, everything that I can take action on, everything that I can choose to do, I can. And I think that really is the realization. And for me, I kind of also really had this big realization about patience a few days ago, like I was saying before, which like sparked this now. And really it was because, I mean, I, for one, in my life, like many others, have goals that I am working towards. And there are things that I like see myself achieving in the future. And so thus, decisions that I make now, actions that I take now, are to achieve those goals and those dreams and what I see myself as that does align like the most with me. And so for me, like, I am that person that when it comes to taking action and achieving your goals, okay, like, there are two sides to this, right? There's the action part, there's actually doing things, and then there's the patience part, the timing part, the waiting for the things to happen after you put in the work and do the things, and then the results have to work their way out and come. And with these two aspects, like, when it comes to this side, okay, action, like, I got that down packed. Like, I take action. Like, me, I am that person. Like, I do what I say I'm gonna do. And I'm really good at taking action. And sometimes I'm reflecting now and realizing that sometimes I like to take that a little bit too far. And I really have in my life, in terms of like workaholic energy and taking too many actions and not taking enough breaks. And so that's kind of like, yeah, my reality with that. And that's something that honestly I could make a whole other video about, that like workaholic energy and like learning like the importance of taking breaks and how that actually literally makes you better. Honestly, okay, I will make a video about that. That's a good idea. I'm gonna remember that. But anyway, with that aspect of it, like I got it. I take action, okay? But as I was mentioning earlier, I'm a very impatient person. So when it comes to like timing and accepting like timing and being patient, like that's what I have been struggling with so much my entire life, and like being aware of it so much more now, like this past year. And so that's why I've been working on it, you know, so much, because it's so hard to literally be patient. And I'm even realizing right now, having the feeling of like, really what it comes down to as well with being patient is literally trusting, like trusting the universe, trusting the process, trusting your life, trusting your existence, trusting your purpose. Like, that's what I'm realizing also is obviously so hard to do, but like the key point here with being patient is really trusting in that divine timing, like trusting that all the time everything is going to happen exactly when it's supposed to happen. And honestly, right now I'm just realizing I want to tell myself that a lot. Like all these times that I, get down feeling impatient, feeling like things aren't happening the way they're supposed to be happening or not happening yet, like I need to be saying this to myself and reminding myself, like everything literally happens when it's supposed to happen. And now I can kind of tie that back in to what my real realization was, which I was just out on my balcony journaling as one does, and journaling about my feelings and journaling about my feelings of feeling impatient. And really what it was that, like I said, I have goals, things that I work on, right, throughout life, and I'm usually always just working on that. And there was a time, maybe a week ago, where I felt like the universe was really telling me to just slow down and relax. Like, hey girl, it's your time to just relax for a little bit. Like, you've been doing a lot, chill. So I was like, okay, yeah, I can chill. And so I chilled for a few days. And I guess the few days wasn't enough for me because I was like, okay, I'm ready to do stuff now. And I wasn't feeling like I knew what I was supposed to be doing. And I know that can sound weird, and I'm not being very specific, but I mean, I guess I can be specific. Let's just say in terms, because this is what it was, in terms of making content, right? Because the content that I make, and what I'm really realizing with my journey with content, is that it's truly meant to be the most expressive creative outlet for me. Making content and social media can be used for a variety of different things by a variety of different people. But for me, what I'm learning it really is meant to be is that most expressive outlet of being my most creative self. And so that's what I mean in terms of I wasn't really sure exactly what I was supposed to be doing, because what I have realized with my journey with creating content is it needs to, for me to be my most authentic creative self, it needs to just flow naturally out of me with what I'm feeling and what I'm feeling called to create. And so in that moment, after I'd relaxed for a little bit and I was like, okay, I'm ready to do stuff now, I wasn't feeling called to create something. And that was feeling very weird and very uncomfortable for me. And so there were a few days where I honestly sat in a pretty just overall uncomfortable feeling and state of being, because I just had this overwhelming feeling of, I've already known this, but it was I was just so in it, and it was it was being just put to the forefront of my face or my existence of you are not where you will be. And that, even saying it out loud, honestly, it doesn't sound like a problem. So you can almost question well, why do I feel so uncomfortable about that? But it was just this feeling. I guess what was uncomfortable was okay, I see myself in this place, and I know I'm gonna be here, and I know that's what it is, and I also know I have to take action to get there. And so when it comes back to this action, I'm well, what action do I take? And I'm feeling uncomfortable because I'm not feeling called to do something. And so there was this conflict of knowing that something needs to be done, but I don't know what that is. And honestly, I just sat through my uncomfortable feelings for a few days. Also brought some feelings up with friends, which I always mention, friends and socializing your feelings is so good, so good to have a support group, and that also definitely made things a little bit better, because sometimes I feel not that my friends feel the exact same way as me, but I don't know, voicing how, not everything is all perfect and dandy in the world, and sometimes we feel things that don't feel good, and sharing that with others, and then realizing also that other people have things to share about how they didn't feel so good about some things, and sometimes there is some overlap. And I think that was just good for me to share as well, because before that I was kind of just sitting with my uncomfortable feelings myself, which is fine. I mean, you do whatever you need to do for yourself, but there definitely was a shift. There was a shift actually before that, maybe because I knew I was gonna go hang out with friends, I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, I sat with my uncomfortable feelings for a while, and after that I was journaling about how I was feeling. And this might sound kind of stupid what I say. I mean, not stupid or whatever, obvious, but I just had this massive realization of wait a second, I don't feel called Oh wait, you know what? I want to see in my notes. I wrote it down, but it's on the iPad right now. Okay, 1 second. I'm gonna go look at what I wrote because I know I wrote something important. Okay, I saw what I wrote. I wrote, be patient so that you won't need to be patient. Okay, just think about that for a second. Be patient so that you won't need to be patient. That's an interesting concept because, like, when it comes to the idea of just being patient, you don't really want to be patient. No one wants to wait for anything. But if you're being patient for this point in time where you won't have to be patient, which that is that point in time that you get XYZ that you were being patient for, that kind of like, I was like, whoa. Being patient until you don't have to be patient anymore for that thing. Because you probably always have to be patient for something in your existence, but for that thing specifically. So that really was my realization of like, wow, I am not feeling like called to take action, to do anything, to create anything, because it's not my time to. I'm not actually ready to. And I just had this realization of like, wait, the universe literally told me to relax. And like, they didn't say stop. And they didn't say go by giving me action. So I just had this realization of like, oh, like I was actually supposed to just keep relaxing until I get that call to do my next thing. And I was just like, oh, duh. Like the universe isn't going to be go telling me to like do shit and take the next action if I'm not ready. Like if I'm not rested and relaxed and prepared and juiced up and ready to go take on that action and do a good job. So yeah, that was just like a big realization for me. It's so weird. I feel like how our human brains work, how whatever is going on in here works, okay? That like I can go through emotions that are low and uncomfortable because I'm thinking about something a certain way and viewing things a certain perspective. And then all it takes is time with me sitting those feelings, feeling them. In this situation, sharing with others. In this situation, journaling specifically. But most importantly, time. Time with my feelings. And then all of a sudden I get clarity and I get a realization on something. I don't know. I mean, that just like, that in itself is already like a good example for patience, right? Like be patient and then you get the answers. But that is literally, I was literally thinking about that earlier today, how real that is, where clarity, and I've said this before because it's real shit. Like clarity comes later, oftentimes. Most of the time, it feels like you don't have all the answers right now. But literally at some point in time, you will. And honestly, this was just really tying back to something I was thinking about. And I've always thought about that. But for some reason, like a few hours ago today, I was just really deeply resonating with the concept of everything happens for a reason. And I feel like it's interesting because for some periods of my life, like I really deeply questioned, like, really, like what reason? Like what reason did this thing have to happen for? Why did this have to happen? And I feel like I can still think of that today, but there's something just innate within me that just like is so deeply like, yeah, there is a reason. You just don't get to know about it right now. Like your answers come later, your clarity comes later, because there's some sort of buffer of time that needs to do something before it's time for those answers, before it's really meant to be like known. I don't know. Yeah, just some interesting thoughts that I wanted to share with the world. I feel like I'm having so much fun just making videos. Like I feel like me talking has just been so much fun, and I for sure obviously I'm just gonna keep doing this because I'm having so much fun. I made my first vlog video a few weeks ago, so if you haven't checked that out, make sure you go to my channel and check out the vlog, because yeah, that was super fun. So more on the way. I did film another vlog a couple weekends ago, or 1 week ago, I don't know. I filmed another vlog and I'm editing it, so that is coming too, and then I'm just gonna keep filming more. And honestly, I want to find more ways to film more, just more. So I'm gonna try and see what that looks like in my life, because yeah, I'm having so much fun. I'm really enjoying this, so I really want to make time for the things that I enjoy and that I'm having fun doing. I think one other thing that I can share as well is that in terms of like after, okay, I guess I should clarify something actually, or add a little piece of information that maybe should have chronologically gone in a little bit earlier. But before I had that realization, I did have some sort of inkling of knowing what something in the terms of my action of creative plan may be. Now that doesn't mean, oh, I know exactly what my next piece of content is that I'm gonna make. No, it's a sliver of an energy, of a direction, of something that is pulling me, that I am like, oh. And at this point, when I had that like realized, or that shown to me, that kind of realization, it was just a sliver. It's not a clear set of action. It's something where it was like, here, this is a direction to think about, but I actually really need to take some time to think about like how to go about that, how to actually like work on that and integrate that into existence, into reality. But so basically it was because I had something shown to me of some sort of thought of some sort of action in some way that can be taken. That's what made me realize like, oh, I just wasn't waiting long enough. And it makes sense. Like I like always will have like a creative spark and a creative energy, and across all like ways that you can be creative, like it's not just that people will go through periods of like not having any creative spark, or like what's the word, like writer's block or something. But I mean, in my instance, what I'm really realizing is that it's just time for a break. Like it's just that, because I mean, it's like you can't really just like turn on off like your creativity, right? It flows naturally, and it's like you have to do what you can to nurture that flow and flow with it and allow it to be its fullest self. And yeah, that's not an on-off switch, right? That's not just programming something and saying go. Like it's adapting to an existing energy within you and creating like the best space for it to be and exist and flow. And I don't know where I was going with this, but yeah, basically like I did have that, and so that is what fed into that realization of, oh, like I just wasn't patient enough. Like I just didn't wait. And I was like, shit, that was my time I was supposed to be relaxing, but I still have more time to relax now. I'm making up for it, okay? But because in essence, like when I also spend some time being in my head and being uncomfortable, that's not relaxing, right? Like I could be sitting like reading, or not really reading even, but like sitting and like journaling how I feel, but if I'm feeling uncomfortable the whole time because I'm journaling about my uncomfortable feelings, I'm not feeling like relaxed. So I didn't really spend that time relaxing. So I'm doing it now. But yeah, I guess to add a little bit more with regards to like, at least what I was realizing what direction and action is really, in order to be, for me, in order to be at that place that I like am in my head, and that place that, you know, doesn't happen until the future, but it is that place of me, of who I am in the future, of what aligns with me the most when I see myself in the future. Like what I am realizing, and like this is kind of like, oh yeah, obvious, duh, but it's like with what that, you know, told me of like an inkling of a direction, it's really actually asking me to like take what to me is some really like massive steps towards something that is ultimately literally just more the core of who I am, literally me, who I am, but is really actually uncomfortable for me to do. And so what that means is that there are aspects of myself that I have not tapped into to share, that I know like deep down is me and is meant to be shared, because like I know this whole purpose of me, like I said, what social media is to me, like most expressively creating myself, or most expressively pouring out my creativity. Okay, like the whole purpose is to be me. Like that's what makes it the most creative, is being literally the most me, right? And that's, again, I've talked about this, what life is about, right? Being yourself. But like for me, with regard to like specifically what I share outward to the world, like in form of social media, like there are a lot of other things that go into that that make it not easy to just be you in all forms. And it's not even just social media. This happens in like so many different aspects of life or existence. Like you might go to school and feel like you can't be that full aspect of yourself. You might go home and feel like you can't be that. You might go, I mean, if anywhere, like but there could be different environments that like, you know, I mean, for example, most people probably like, I mean, it depends, but like, let's say you have like some sort of like formal uptight job. Okay, like you're gonna act a certain way. You're gonna wear certain things when you go to work, right? That's probably not your full self, because maybe you wear different things when you're at home. Maybe you act differently or you say different things, you know? And there's obviously reasons and stuff to some extent for stuff like that, you know? But it's kind of like a similar like aspect of like, there are energies that make you feel like you can't or you shouldn't be like your most full authentic self outwardly. And that's something that I have been like just kind of becoming more aware of in all aspects of my life, but even like with regards to like sharing on social media, like what, like evaluating for myself, like what are the things that I don't feel comfortable sharing and why? And then the question of like, well, what's she gonna do about it? So yeah, I mean, basically, yeah, that's kind of just where I am. And yeah, I just think in all aspects of life and existence, creativity is just the most beautiful energy. Being your most creative, authentic self is just so beautiful. And that's what life is about. That is what I'm here. And that's also what I am here to share. So that's pretty much it for today. I feel like this was a good episode. I'm glad to be back with another sit down real talk with Rach. I really fucking hope that you took something away from this today. I hope that these words resonated with you. I hope that I just want to bring love and light, okay, into anybody's life that I can. That's literally why I'm here. Okay, on this planet, on this earth, but also right here, right now in front of this camera. Okay, I just want to bring love and light to everyone, and I am really starting to find my groove in that and find what that really looks like. And I'm getting excited to like continue to like push those boundaries of what that really is for me, what that's supposed to be, what that looks like. And part of that is right here, right now, me filming these videos, just having these type of conversations. Also filming podcasts as a podcast. I'm also going to post this audio as a podcast on Spotify, so also make sure you check that out. But yeah, I just thank you so much for being here with me today, listening, watching if you are. Like I said at the beginning, I hope you have an amazing day. I hope that you also have an amazing week. And yeah, I'm just sending so much love your way. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.